It's got a great history. The first photo players were built back late 1800s when the first movies came out. The early and the word photo player is so unique, and even when I tell people 3 or 4 times, they still don't. They say, "What's it called again?" It basically, when the early non-talking movies came out, the first movies obviously had no sound effects, no music, no talking, anything at all. So they built these instruments specifically made to be for these early movie theaters, and they were quite large, and they provided all the sound effects. Now, those early movies were called photoplays along with motion pictures, because if you play photographs together, which is exactly what a movie is, playing photographs in a sequence, that photoplay, that early term was used a lot. So when they created something that created all the music and all the sound effects for those early photoplay or motion pictures, they called it a photo player. There were literally thousands of them made, thousands of thousands. There were 6 or 7 different companies that made them all over the world, and they were everywhere. They're very prominent. And then when the movies came out and they all of a sudden were doing their own recording, and they could put recording on the sound of the movie itself and have people talking and stuff, they did not have any need for these photo players. That was about 1930 or so. Carriage coming down the road, the clackety-clack of the horses' hooves, and castanets and bird whistle and stuff that you don't think of as prominent sound effects nowadays. So that's how they came about, and when 1930 came, and they literally, I heard that just thousands of them were just torn out of these old movie theaters. They just took them, they just threw them away. They were scrap, even though they cost a lot of money. Some people took them out and put them in their private collections and put them in museums and stuff, but they weren't a big deal necessarily. Well, as the years have gone by, and here we are 95 years later, there's probably fewer than maybe 100, 150 of them still in existence, when there were probably up to 10,000 of them at one time, but there's probably less than a dozen that are still in the public eye in the country, that anybody can go to some place and actually see performed and play. Photo players were probably the most unique because you could play all the sound effects and control it manually. They have keyboards on them like a regular piano. They have all these different sounds and pipes and xylophones and different unique things that you can manipulate coming through the main melody line. But then you're playing the bird whistle and a telephone bell and a fire alarm and a ooga horn, from the early Model A's and Model T's, and sirens and all these different unique sounds that you could play along with, all these percussions that you could play along with the music. So it gave you really a hands-on, and you could add all these different things and make it your own, as opposed to just sticking a quarter in something and it kind of comes to life like a jukebox. It's quite impressive how many thousands of different notes come out of these early photo players. It was bought and put into the Liberty Theater in Yakima, Washington. And again, about 15 to 18 years later, the talkies came out, and then somebody bought it and put it in a private collection. It moved around from person to person for a couple of years, and then ended up with a gentleman in Oregon, of all places. And when it was in Oregon, he had it for 50 years and just added to it and kept it up and made sure it was in great shape. And he was just in his living room, and he just kept it there, and he just played it. People would come over and he'd turn it on and play it, and they'd all go ooh, ah, and it was his for a long time. But I wanted some kind of an old-fashioned instrument like that, just to wake people up and go, oh, wow, it's really cool to listen to, because I think they're really neat. And had it shipped over here and hoisted 15 feet up over the top of the stage, and there she sits now in different pieces while I'm working on her. And the 95-year-old wood and leather and all the stuff from back in those days is worn and weathered, and it needs a lot of upkeep. There's always little cracks and leaks, and everything's driven by pneumatics and air and vacuum. So she's always taken a lot of work, a lot of energy. Right now, it's mainly being used as a focus centerpiece for our pre-show and our intermission, just to kind of wake people up and get things going, and have it be an extra added bonus to the night of crazy entertainment. So that's what we try and incorporate here in our shows, is do songs that people know, and then I kind of explain to them the history of the photo player, and then play a couple of songs on there and do all the different sound effects and give them an idea of what all the different sounds sound like. I'm looking forward to the future of what we can do in this new building, and with the photo player, with new people coming in, and whatever our imaginations can bring up to entertain.
What's that?
Do you want me to sleep these on?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Want to just do a song?
In particular, just do what I usually do.
Yep. Just go ahead. I'm gonna probably another shot that I'm thinking is get the sheet music while it's going down. I think that'd be kind of a neat little detail.
Sure. Same song or different song is that?
Doesn't matter.
And it goes together like this. So Steve, you want to get the keys?
Yeah, why not? Since we're recording audio as well.
I'll switch back to first.
All right.
One of my thoughts to get some more popular songs have roles maybe these are all very popular songs. You could get roles that are popular songs. Popular these guys. But I like to get because Jackson
Yeah.
or Belly had it, you know, you hear like Beat It or Thriller or something coming out of this that was all these wacky sound effects. I didn't realize like people know this song.
Oh yeah. I'm ready. Andrew, you were saying maybe the sound effect one more time without John right
Yeah,
in
just
front of
because you
this.
don't have a mic on you, so it's
Somehow,
well, it's like you're whispering, then you hear stuff really loud. So
I got you. I always thought to play them all the time. Same music.
All right, yep, go ahead. Might get a shot of you pulling the whistle. I just have to set the tripod up real quick.
really have to do something that looks good.
Curious why that's so. Yes.